Hello and welcome back to day 8 of my attempts to solve the Exit the Game Advent Calendar. So I'm going to start today, as I always do, by having a look at the story for today. The calendar came with 2 books, one for hints and tips if you get stuck, so I'll put that aside, I hope we don't need it, and a storybook which tells us what's going on each day. So here's the page for 8th of December. Let's take it out and see what it has to say. So the story is that you've just opened the locker on the previous day's calendar, and inside it you do find some protective equipment, gloves and a helmet, but also a large rubber ring which you then use to slide down the ice slide, which is very short and dumps you into a pile of smelly clothes, and you find you in some sort of laundry. And it says, in front of another wall is an impressively large wooden box. Unsurprisingly, it is secured with a combination lock, so we're going to once again need a 3-digit number, which is what we've needed each day on the calendar to work out where the next day's door is on the advent calendar. And it says you cannot see an exit. The slide is definitely too hard and slippery to climb back up. Luckily you find another card. Will it give you a clue as to how to get out of here? And it says inside the door you will find a riddle card, 4 laundry, strange items, and 5 clothes peg, strange items. Right, okay, so let's get the calendar and take a look. So we labelled day 8 yesterday. Here it is. So let's open the door and see what's in there. It should be exactly what it just said, I hope. Oh, right, okay. Well, there's a picture with some clothes pegs, 5 of them in different colours, and an I Love Rome sign, towel perhaps, an I Love Rome towel, and then some things inside the box. So let's have a look at these. There's Riddle Card H. Let's look at that first. It says, I'm fussy how I hand my wash. Position here is key. Don't hand them in a random way or peg them carelessly. And there's a picture of a woolly hat and a woolly sock. Okay, so I'm thinking we have to arrange the washing in the right order. Each of these cards has got a different picture on. I'm guessing we will need those at some point. What else is here? There is a piece of thick cardboard, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pegs to push out, and we also have 4 items of washing to push out. So let's have a look at these then. Right, okay, so I guess I need to push them out. Socks, underpants, woolly hat, woolly sock. Okay, I think that's everything that's on this bit of cardboard, so we'll get rid of that. And then on this one there are 3 pegs and 2 pegs on this little bit. So there is a double-sided black peg, there is a yellow peg, a blue peg, double-sided, I think it's all double-sided, and then a white peg and a white peg. Right, okay, and I don't think there's anything else we need on here probably, so let's get rid of that. I think probably the next thing we should do is have a good look in the room, because I can see there's some stuff here which might be relevant. So let's put my light on and see what's what. So we've got what looks like a sink at the back, it's dripping, a pile of the dirty washing on the floor that you just flung yourself into, and then on the back it has blue, white, white, black, black, yellow. There's clearly 3 thins, so perhaps we need those 3 thins. Blue, white, white, black, black, yellow. And apart from the fact that there's only 1 black, this actually matches the ordering on here as well. Now what else is in this room? Well, we have, I'm going to send all the pegs flying, aren't I? Let's have a look. On this side there are some flags, red, blue, black. Well, we haven't got any red washing, so I don't know how important that is, or red pegs. And what else is there to see? Just bubbles, I think. And what about on the other side? Oh, let's look at the roof. Okay, that looks empty. That looks blank. On the other side of the room here, there is... That's just the chute we came out of. I don't think there's anything important there. So my guess would be the important things in this room... Just wait for that to focus. Let's give it a hand. My guess would be that the important things in this room are the pegs on the back of the door and the blue, white, white, black, black, yellow. Okay, right, okay, so here are the 5 pegs, that one's quite hard to see, and the 4 items of washing, and I'm going to put what we can see in the calendar by here, so you can see just like I can. as I think putting it on top of the calendar is just too visually confusing. Right, so I'm fussy how I hand my wash. Position here is key. Don't hand them in a random way or peg them carelessly. Well, first of all, we have a picture of the pegs. So they are clearly in order: blue, white, white, black, yellow. So there's my pegs. And then each of the items has a colour. And I also am looking to extract a number from this. Perhaps the items form the shapes of numbers when they're put together. I'm going to guess that I don't need anything else from the calendar for this one. It seems like it should be self-contained. We'll soon discover if that's an error. I love Rome, it says, on the door. And it has a picture of the Colosseum. I don't know what that's got to do with anything, but it's so prominent that you wonder if it is actually quite important. Well, okay, so I'm looking at the cabinet at the back. The first one is blue-white, which makes me think that we peg the blue and white items of washing. But where do we peg them? And how do we orient them? For example, I think I could peg them sideways, perhaps. No, it's not really going to stay. So these pegs are bent. So, oh, that's interesting. It doesn't clasp them really. Oh, well, that's the handle, isn't it? You would expect them to actually go in here. If you're actually using the peg, you would squeeze here and it would clip here. Do these items clip in any way? I mean, I don't think they're going to, is the answer. I thought they were going to, wedge in here, but if I let go of that, it's just going to fall through. And they're all the same thickness, so that's true of anything. So what's going on here? How am I supposed to arrange these pegs and these items? If I start with the blue and the white one, the woolly hat and the underwear, is there some way of, if I ignore the pegs, some way of arranging them into a number, just as a attempt to short circuit the puzzle by working out what's going to happen, and then I can understand the correct mechanism. Do they fit together nicely? There's a bit of a curve there, isn't there? I don't think that looks like a number though. And what about the other ones? They all have curves of some sort. So for example, the socks possibly could, it's not neat enough for it to be deliberate, a part of the puzzle. I think if they fitted together like jigsaw pieces, I think I was onto something, but I actually don't think I'm onto anything there. Don't hand them in a random way or peg them carelessly. Okay, so we have an order of the pegs. That's from the door of the box. The only other thing we have that I think is relevant is the blue and white, white and black and yellow. So if I literally just, they should hand off the bottom of the peg, right? So if I do, maybe the colours on this thing, they go together, don't they? Black and yellow go together, white and black are together, and blue and white are together, and there's just an overlap between the black. So if I were to peg the woolly hat under the blue, and well, there's angles of the pegs as well, aren't there, on that picture. Let's reproduce the peg picture as accurately as I can. So blue, let's just make sure I'm not running out of room here. So blue is vertical, white is off to the side like that. The next white is at a slight angle like that. The black is then here, this way up. You can see which way the pegs go on the picture, can't you? And then yellow is this way up too. So that's how the pegs are arranged in the picture. So if I were to peg the items, the blue would be like this. We'd peg like that probably, wouldn't it? I mean, you might hand it the other way up. What is this on here? There's a line. That cannot be a coincidence that there's a black line drawn across it, can it? And the fact there's lines on all of them. Oh, is it just the tiles? I think those lines are the... Never mind. I think those lines are the tiles of the bathroom floor. Okay, let's peg that there. Oh my goodness, I'm struggling to pick them up. Right, pegged there, and tidy whiteys can go here. Right, well that doesn't particularly look like a number, or two numbers to add. If it was the white and the white, and I was putting the two things together, then that would make sense. And I mean, I'm only guessing that the clothes go on the same colour peg, but I've got to start somewhere, and I think that's a pretty reasonable guess. It has a picture of the blue and yellow ones here, which don't go together in the pictures, but I think that's probably just showing you that these examples of the washing. Maybe it shows how they are angled. So the blue would be at an angle like that, and yellow would be an angle like that. I don't know if that's right. This doesn't look like a number though, does it? Any way I look at it, that isn't. How is that going to give me a number? And the white here, which way, if it's at that angle, like in the picture, then would I be putting something like that? Does it just go underneath? If I put it the other way up, that's obviously not going to make it suddenly magically look like a number either. Let's have a look at the box and see if I'm missing anything there. Okay, so I don't think there's anything on the front here to do with washing. I'm going to have a quick look on the edges. There's some flags and stuff here. I haven't really shown you what's on the box. That's upside down, isn't it? There's some flags here, and in fact that is really just the lid. I've got it folded back because I'm putting it in front of my screen, but I mean, if you were just doing it on the table, I guess you would see this quite clearly every time you open the calendar. But there's nothing to do with washing there, obviously, I would say. The lid of the box seems to be mostly just the lid, although you can never be sure. The side is fairly plain. This side is fairly plain. What is that? It's a picture of a bird flying. The other side's plain, and the bottom of the box looks like this. I'm not convinced there's anything critically important there. I mean, it's not uncommon for the Exit the Game games to use stuff from the box, and often in quite clever and inventive ways. Well, I do feel it sometimes breaks the immersion of the theme, but in this case, I don't think there's anything that's relevant to the laundry puzzle. Alright, well, I don't really want to take a hint here, because, I mean, I could, but I think I want to try and solve this myself still. So, I think what I'll try next is I'll try physically putting the pegs on the actual picture. So let me just take the tool off. As neatly as I always have done. You may have noticed I've taped the other doors back on the calendar previously. I've still got these flags on the side here. The red, blue, black, but I think that's not meant to be flags as such. It's meant to be like rags that have been thrown there. I could be completely wrong, of course. But anyway, right, let's get this out of the way again. And we've got the I Love Rome. So, what if I put the peg actually on the picture? I mean, this is a bit of a guess, isn't it? But I don't know what to do. And the peg there. I don't see how that is going to be a number. Let's try the black and yellow ones as well, because they both hand vertically and are next to each other. So this alignment here of the pegs is just simply because I don't know what else to try. Putting them on the card at least makes some sense. And then surely the socks shows one on the card here. If I put them on just handing down vertically, how is this going to look like a letter, or sorry, a number? I mean, I'm guessing it's going to look like a number. Right, so I've pegged them like that. That doesn't look like a digit to me. It's got to be a number from 0. Can it be 0? Well, I don't think it probably is relevant. It can be a number from 0 to 9. It's not a 0, or 1, or 2, or 3, or 4, really. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Doesn't look like any digit. I don't see how it's going to look like a digit. Perhaps I'm not looking at the appearance. Perhaps I'm counting something on them. There are stripes on the yellow one, but there's not really anything to count on the others. Blue, white, and something to count on the black one. I Love Rome. That chord is at an angle. What else is in Rome? I mean, all sorts of Roman ruins. I mean, but it has a picture of the Colosseum, and I don't see how any of this washing relates to the Colosseum. So let's just ignore that picture again. And I've got a tap in that room. And I understand, I think, that I need to combine blue and white for the first number, combine white and black for the second number, and combine black and yellow for the third number. But in what way am I combining them? If the pegs aren't next to each other, then I don't see how they're going to form the outlines of anything. In fact, I don't see how they're going to form the outline of anything at all. But the card clearly says, position here is key. I'm going to assume that key just means most important rather than it's referring to a picture of a key somewhere, because I haven't seen one. Don't hand them in a random way. Okay, well that doesn't really say much. Or peg them carelessly. That suggests that the angle they're pegged at is important, which does suggest that the outline matters. It's also possible it's what's cut out of them that matters as well, rather than the the gaps in them might be relevant. But what's this? These squiggly gaps here don't seem particularly. I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to form any numbers really. I don't see how the pegs are shaped so they're going to form numbers as well. If I start, let's just start again with the blue. So the blue is vertical, the white's at an angle. The pegs are not next to one another on the picture, but let's assume that I put them next to each other. Or maybe I'll do it like that. Perhaps I can form something in this void? I don't know, it's possible, isn't it? So let's assume that the blue hand's down here and the white underwear goes like this. It's not going to touch, is it? And that void, the gap between them, just looks like, I mean, they're all going to look vaguely like a fat one. That doesn't really help me. I'm never going to peg that like that, am I? Presumably they're pegged upright like this. Let's put them actually on the peg clips. You could make out the top of a 5 there, but I think that's a lot of wishful thinking. Yeah, that hat would really need to curve in for that to work. Plus it seems a bit arbitrary that I've put them together like that. That doesn't inspire me. Let's try the white and the black. Because after all, maybe I'm just not seeing one, but if I look at another one I might actually get some inspiration. So let's hang our underwear here and our sock here. That gap in the middle again just looks like nothing in particular. What happens if I take the pegs? I mean, I've got the physical items, right? So the pegs must be involved in some way. Otherwise, why have I got the physical ones of them? If it was just a question of looking at the picture and using them to align, give me the angle of the items or something, then why would I need the physical pegs? And you'd think that the peg, being a physical peg, would be designed with the width that was designed for something to actually clip into it. That does seem to make sense, but they don't really clip in. I mean, they don't clip in. They can rest together. Is there some clever way of combining them? Not that I can think of. Alright, I think it is time. I'm going to give up and get a hint. Let's have a look. So, I haven't torn out any of the previous days. I don't suppose I'll tear out today's either. I'll just fold it back on the page. For the first clue, fold the bottom edge of the sheet upwards to the yellow line. Okay. Let's see what this says. Someone needs to hang up the laundry, and that's exactly what you need to do. You have clothes, pegs and laundry. The matching line is printed on the inside of door 8. The exact places for the clothes pegs are even already depicted. With precision, carefully hang the washing up. Every peg and each piece of laundry where it belongs. Pay attention to the angle of the laundry pegs too. That is literally what I've been doing. So I'm clearly not being precise enough, or I'm being somewhat incompetent in doing it. It literally just says the matching line is printed on the inside of door 8. So I have it here. And it says the exact places for the clothes pegs are depicted. With precision, carefully hang the washing up. Every peg and piece of laundry where it belongs. That is what I've been doing. So this puzzle is very fussy, or I'm very stupid, or both. I mean, this is where I started. So clearly the scale of these pegs is not the same as the scale of my pegs. And putting them on here doesn't seem to have helped, because this just looks like... First of all, I'm not sure how you just can be absolutely clear the orientation of the white underpants. But I mean, I assume it's just essentially meant to be like that as the top. That doesn't look to me like a number, even if I angle it. How is that going to be a digit? What am I missing? I started off with them positioned at scale as in the picture. Okay, I've already tried this, so it's time for my second clue. Fold it here. Look, that's the solution. I don't want to see that. Have you hung the washing up on the inside of the door? Yes. Although that scale is different. Have you also paid attention to the colours and angles? Yes. Have you also noticed the hand towel? Yes. So there's a big Rome fan. How do you find the correct numeric code? On the large box in room 8 you'll find 3 two-tone fields that will help you find out this code. Take a look at these fields and how the clothes pegs... Yeah, this is all stuff apart from the thing about the flag, which are the towel, which I'll come back to. This is all stuff we worked out and is fairly immediately obvious, I would say. So what does it say about the hand towel? Have you all, this must be relevant, that's why we didn't mention it in the clue. Have you also noticed the hand towel that is hanging on the inside of the door? I mean, yes, obviously you have to have seen it. Someone is a big Rome fan. Oh, they're meant to be Roman numerals. Okay. Alright, penny drops. But I actually don't think they look very much like Roman numerals, else I would have noticed that before. Probably I am missing something quite obvious. Let's have a look. Let's do the last one first. Yellow peg, black peg. If these are the exact positions, then we have black. Yeah, I'm not sure being a Rome fan means you use Roman numerals, but I mean, that said, I don't know how I would include that either. I love Rome. Yeah, when you go to Rome, you don't necessarily start using Roman numerals, although I suppose you read them on the columns and stuff, don't you? That does not look like any Roman numeral I've ever seen. It looks like JJ. Let's move the pegs apart. Are they supposed to look like letters that are Roman numerals? So if the pegs are arranged as they are on here, like that, then I just have a J and a J, which has nothing to do with Roman numerals. Okay, let's do that. I'm doing starting at the end because I thought that would be the most straightforward one. I've got black and I've got white. If I arrange them like this, that's not any Roman numeral. Okay, I'm pretty sure, clearly the hint doesn't specifically state, but I'm pretty sure that we're talking about Roman numerals, because what else could it be referencing in Rome? I'm not building pictures of famous Roman monuments, because even if I was, which this doesn't look like one, but even if I was, how would I extract a single digit from any of those monuments, really? Put them together, it still doesn't look like a Roman numeral. If I ignore the pegs, which doesn't seem to make sense, because why have I got them? Do they look like Roman numerals when they're at angles? No. I don't understand this puzzle. I'm going to have a look at the solution, I think. Okay, so the solution says they form Roman numerals, to which I say, no, they absolutely do not. Yeah, here's the solution. On the box you will see two-tone. I've understood about the fields. I understood you only pay attention to the stuff in that picture. I don't understand. How do they look like Roman numerals? They don't look like Roman numerals. Let's have a look at this. I don't understand. I'm going to look at the solution. Okay, we've done everything exactly as it said, apart from putting two clips on the white underwear. So we're supposed to ignore the washing entirely, I think, and look at the shapes of the pegs. But then that doesn't make the slightest bit of sense, because you've already got that on the card. You don't need the pegs and you don't need the washing. That literally is nonsensical, because in the picture there's other white underwear on the floor as well. So there's no reason why both pegs would be used for us. Okay, that's an interesting puzzle, not one I've seen before, but I think it is very unfair because you've got so many red herrings that are completely irrelevant to the puzzle. So basically I don't need those. They're neither here nor there. What I'm supposed to have done is angled. You're supposed to use both white pegs when you do the white bit. Both white pegs with the black. Well, that's fair enough. But then the black and yellow, I just don't understand that one at all. That's what I was using as my reference. Black and yellow. I think to say that looks like the Roman numeral 2 is a stretch that I would not be willing to take myself. You're supposed to ignore the washing, despite the fact that the clue card says that you have to hand them not in a random way or peg them carelessly. In fact, it doesn't make a slightest bit of difference how you peg them, because they're not part of the puzzle. You're just supposed to look at the two pegs and say it's 2 because they're vertical. And then for the blue and white, you're supposed to look at the fact that you've got 2 pegs like that in the picture. If you do them exactly the same as in the picture, like it tells you, then you're supposed to say, well, that looks like IV, and that's a 4, which I think is not very fair. Even if you were to peg the underwear together like that, as I was supposed to have done. Okay, fine. I guess if I had put both white pegs on the white underwear, which is not unreasonable. In fact, I should have thought of doing that this would be fair, because I would have then seen it was a V, and then I would have worked out my process of having seen that there was a V, because there would then be that for the next one, that it was supposed to be Roman numerals. Well, there we go. I didn't do very well on that puzzle, did I? So the answer is going to be, and I don't need anything whatsoever except for the card. It's going to be IV, which is 4. It's going to be VI, which is 6. And it's going to be II, which is 2. 4, 6, 2. And a rather disappointing puzzle in my opinion now. Let's zoom out a bit. And here's my decoder. So we're looking for 4, 6, 2. Alright. I know this is correct because I've looked at the answer. Actually, it doesn't explicitly say that on the answer. It probably does. It tells you it's 4, 6, 2. Fine. Let's just zoom in so you can read this as well. For each of these fields, only ever take notice of the clothes. I'm just focusing. The clothes pegs and the corresponding colour. First colour field, only the blue and the white clothes pegs. Second colour field, the white and the black clothes pegs. Third colour field, the black and the yellow pegs. You will then have the Roman numerals 4, 6, 2. Well, I suspect that some people will solve this instantly because they will put both white pegs on the underwear and they'll see it's a V. So I think I probably made this. I was not very good at this puzzle, is probably the main problem here. I do think it has quite a lot of red herrings in it, but that doesn't make it a bad puzzle, it just means that I couldn't do it. Okay, 4, 6, 2 is right, up, up. Is that right? Right, up, up. Right, up, up. Okay, now we've got triangle. We've got hexagon, triangle, moon. Hexagon, triangle, moon. Okay, so hexagon, triangle, moon will be our next day of solving of the calendar. And once I can find my pen, I'll write 9 on it. Alright, okay. Well, there we go. That's day 8 of the Exit the Game Advent Calendar done. I struggled on that puzzle as you saw, but perhaps tomorrow will be a better day. So why not follow me by clicking here, and then you'll get my videos recommended, I think. And by here you can see my other day's solves as well. And I hope you join me tomorrow. Bye.